Hey everybody, this is Elijah.
And this is Luke.
And we are the Eagles of Steel. So I bet you guys are wondering, why are we sitting differently at this table right now? Well, if you watched the last video, we gave you a little insight of what we're about to do today, which is we are going to be doing the Steelers versus
the Eagles. What he means by that is we're going to go over 5 legends of Philly versus Pittsburgh.
Like the next 3 episodes are going to be all about different things to do with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. It's going to be super fun. I hope you guys enjoy this debate.
Be warned, there are definitely going to be some arguments. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Be some trigger warnings, especially the people that only have one Super Bowl. What?
Don't get me started already.
Okay, so we want to start this off with probably 2 of our most legendary quarterbacks, which for me, I'm all in favor of 4-time Super Bowl winner Terry Bradshaw. And how about you? Who are you supporting?
Well, similar around the time that Terry Bradshaw was quarterback, Randall Cunningham.
Ooh, okay. So I'll let you start this one, actually. How many games did that guy play and everything?
I didn't write down the number of games he played, but he played 11 seasons with Philly. Out of his 16 seasons that he played in the NFL, because most of his other games he played was with Minnesota.
Okay. For Terry Bradshaw, he had a total amount of games of 168 games. Now, how his completions and attempts were, for Terry Bradshaw, he had 2,025 completions for 3,901 attempts. He only had a 51.9% completion percentage, but remember the time period it was. That's actually really good. And he had 32 rush TDs, and he also had 212 pass TDs. So how was Randall Cunningham's stats?
So he had 2,429 completions out of 4,229. That was a 56.6 completion percentage, so a little bit better. And he had an 81.5 passer rating. So that's not bad for that time. Yeah. And he had 29,979 passing yards. For his rushing, he had 4,928 rushing yards with 35 rushing TDs.
Dang.
And he also went to the Pro Bowl 4 times.
Yeah, my Terry Bradshaw was a 3-time Pro Bowler, but he was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, we gotta get to that.
And 4-time Super Bowl champ. So right there, there's a difference there.
It's the only difference, but other than that,
well, okay. Total yards for Terry Bradshaw, he had 27,989 pass yards. Did you say yours?
29,979.
Okay, so overall, you guys had Cunningham had better stats, but we had the wins.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Yeah, so I'm still if I had to choose between these 2 quarterbacks, I'm still going with my boy.
Oh, of course.
Give me Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, of course you are.
And I bet you're still going with your boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a debate. We're supposed to be against each other. Anyways, why don't I start us off with quarterback number 2, Donovan McNabb.
And I'm over here supporting Big Ben Roethlisberger, baby.
And let me just say this: the stats are not even close. I'm just gonna put this out now. I'll admit his. Well, I'm gonna start with my stuff. So with Donovan McNabb, he had 3,170 completions out of 5,374 passes, 59% completion. He had 234 TDs over 117 picks, and he had over passing yards 37,276 and 85.6 passer rating.
What was his passer rating?
85.6.
Ooh, that's good.
Well, there's more to it, but I want to see what you have.
Well, how many games did he play, McNabb?
McNabb, he was 11 seasons with Philly. So that was 13-season career.
Okay, so how many games would that be? Was it 16 at that time then, per year?
Yeah, I was at 16 at that time.
Okay.
So I'd say it's over 150, 160 at least.
At least, okay. So Ben Roethlisberger, he played 249 total games with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 5,440 completions for 8,443 attempts. He had a 64.4% completion percentage. He had total yards of 64,088 yards. He had 20 rush TDs and 418 pass touchdowns. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Let me finish up. let me finish up what I have to say, Mr. Super Bowl over there. Anyways, McNabb was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He had 3,459 rushing yards with 29 rushing TDs. So McNabb was a running quarterback.
Okay.
And he had 5 straight division titles and appearances at the playoffs. And he's the Eagles' franchise leader in passing yards, pass TDs, passing attempts, and completions. Like, I'm assuming Cunningham obviously has better stats than other means.
Yeah. But so for Roethlisberger, I didn't really include all certain things like interception stuff. I think he had over 200 interceptions in his life though, which is pretty a lot. But that was his downfall. He turned it over a lot. He's kind of like the new Josh Allen. Why not happen? Sorry, Bills fans. But here's the thing though. I just can't deny the fact that Ben Roethlisberger, he might have not ran that much, but when he did, it was at the most important times of a game when it had to matter most, that he had to get going. He was so hard to bring down. That's why he was called Big Ben. Like, he was hard to sack the dude.
I mean, same for McNabb. He was
very mobile. Ben Roethlisberger was just a big dude, and it was really hard to take him down. Even he was probably as big as the defensive backs that were trying to get him down.
That is fair.
So
you had to leg tackle the guy. So
yeah, the only way to get him down. And he was one of the masters of the deep ball. Steelers fans everywhere are still waiting for that awesome deep ball to be thrown on our team again.
In a very long time.
It's been ever since he retired. It's been the past couple years. It's been just so dormant. Even just either running the ball and then doing short little screen passes. I mean, it's been set.
I mean, for us, it's been off and on for deep balls because the quarterbacks we've had have done deep balls before.
Oh yeah, Hurts is known for the deep ball and rushing right now. But
yeah, we're
not talking about that right now. Overall, though, give me Ben any day.
Yeah, he does have the better stats overall. Plus, he played for 18 seasons, all with Pittsburgh. So
yeah, so it's like, does that mean you would take probably Ben Roethlisberger over?
Yeah, unfortunately, okay. I know. Yes, McNabb was really good, and he went to the Super Bowl once, but his stats overall you have way better stats easily.
Hey, at least we're in agreement. Another one here that I think that the Steelers are going to destroy you on, running back.
And I totally agree because I would look at the stats and it's not even close.
We were trying to find out what the Eagles' best running back was, and they didn't have one.
We tried to find the best one.
Yeah. You guys couldn't keep a running back for any more than 5 years.
I mean, we didn't stick to one, and we never did. And this one's the one that made the furthest for 8 years in Philly, and that's Brian Westbrook.
Yeah,
Brian Westbrook. He played 8 seasons. He didn't play long. He only played 9 seasons in the NFL. That's
So that doesn't help his stats either. But
for the stats he had in 8 seasons, it's not bad. Like you have as your running back before you go over stats.
You know who I got? I got the bus, Jerome Bettis. Come on, guys. Who else would I choose?
Anyways, what Westbrook was, he was a first-team All-Pro, and he went to the Pro Bowl twice. Like I said, his stats are not as good as Bettis because he didn't play as long as Jerome Bettis.
Oh, yeah.
6,335 rushing yards, 41 rushing TDs, which that's not bad. 4.6 a rush. He had 30 receiving TDs, 442 receptions for 3,940 receiving yards. So,
wow.
Westbrook was more the receiving back.
He's receiving? Okay. That was really good receiving back stats. So for Jerome Bettis, he played 145 total games with Pittsburgh. He also played 47 with the Rams. I actually didn't know that. He actually started with the St. Louis or LA Rams at the time, and then he went to Pittsburgh for the rest of the
St. Louis Rams. But
it started out as the Los Angeles Rams, and then it turned to St. Louis before he left. So he was St. Louis Ram for 1 year.
Okay.
But he played a total of 47 games there. I just combined all the stats just because
that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. So his total yards, he had 13,662 total rush yards.
Yeah.
He had 3,091 total yards with the Rams alone without so even then he's at 10,000 yards with the Steelers. He had 91 rush TDs, 3 receiving touchdowns. His longest run was a 71-yarder. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl champion, and also, fun fact, I actually didn't know he did this. He won an NFL Comeback Player of the Year award.
I actually did not know that at all.
I didn't know it either until I did some research. I was like, whoa, he actually won it?
Like, to be honest, yes, Jerome Bettis was the big run back, but he was a power back. He didn't have the receiving ability as well as Brian Westbrook.
Yeah.
You gotta keep that in mind.
And come on, guys, nobody was taking down Jerome Bettis, right?
Oh, that's funny, because I watched a video recently on Brian Dawkins just absolutely hammering Jerome Bettis. You sure about that?
I tried to suppress that memory.
Don't worry, we'll get to him in a minute.
All right, but all in all, I am definitely taking Jerome Bettis over any Eagles running back that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, Westbrook's not bad, don't get me wrong. But Bettis is the boss, come on.
I mean, I'm still...
Nobody, except for Dawkins, was going to take him down.
I'm still taking Westbrook, because Westbrook is very agile, too. It's hard to take Westbrook down.
Yeah.
Like, once he gets in the open field, you can't catch him.
For me, I like to compare Jerome Bettis to Derrick Henry. And I would like to compare...
That'd be a good comparison.
Yeah, and then you're Brian Westbrook. I almost compare him to more like an Austin Eckler.
That's fair.
Because Austin Eckler is like one of the best receiving backs, and Derrick Henry is one of the best like power backs of the NFL currently. So it's like it makes sense that's the compare and contrast there.
Now here's a very controversial one. I think wide receiver. Why don't you start us off with your wide out?
All right, you guys know I got my boy Hines Ward. He played 217 total games. He had 85 receiving TDs and 1 rush TD. I don't remember what play that was. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time Super Bowl MVP. He was also
I did look that one up.
And he was a 1-time Super Bowl winner. He the other Super Bowl that he was in, we lost to the Green Bay Packers. All right,
which I saw that too.
Yeah, but yeah, total yards, he had 12,083 all time yards
altogether,
and he had his longest catch was an 85-yard reception.
And for a D-Jax, he had Deshaun Jackson. Yep. Mm-hmm. Eagles fans, you know how fast and electric Deshaun Jackson was as a receiver, as a runner, and as a punt returner as well. Because his longest TD was 91 yards. Woo! So
he was a big play guy.
Because if I forget, Hines Ward, how many receptions did he have?
Receptions? I actually didn't really write all that.
I saw it was 1,000.
Yeah. I think it was 1,000 on the dot.
It was
though. Yeah.
But like I said, hear me out here. He may have only had 641 receptions, but his receiving yards 11,263. So he wasn't far behind Hines Ward.
And how many games less?
You said 217 for Hines Ward. He only played 184. So if he played more, he could have surpassed Hines Ward.
He would have. He definitely would have. Dang.
He was a second-team All-Pro 3 times. He had, for his rushing ability, per catch, he had 17.6 yards per catch, along with 58 receiving TDs, not as much as Hines Ward.
Dang.
He had 4 rushing TDs for 463 rushing yards, 6.4 rush. But he was also a punt returner, too.
Yeah.
With 1,352 return yards, with 4 return TDs, 2 of them against the Giants, which I remember. You want to go ahead and go over the rest of Hines Ward's stats before I...
all the stats I wrote down or I had prepared are actually the ones I already said. His rushing stats were kind of like they were there, but they weren't like over the top. I think he only had like anywhere between 200 300 rush yards or something.
And a TD
and like a TD or something. Like it wasn't really it wasn't really like major stats to where I wanted to include them, but maybe I should have. Because it sounds like Deshaun Jackson had some really good rushing stats too.
So let me put this out there. He has the most 60 yards or more touchdown catches of 26. 26 60-plus yard touchdown. He told you he's the big deep threat. Yeah. And he's tied for the most 80-yard touchdown catches or more with 5.
Dang.
That's why I said that 91-yarder as well. He only played half his career in Philly. He only played 8 seasons in Philly. Like, he was at the beginning of his career, he was with Philly, and then in between...
He kind of jumped around
to back and forth with Philly and that.
Yeah.
And he was also hurt with some of his career.
Oh, yeah, he was having hurt a lot, too. So, on top of that, and the fact that he got that close and he's hurt, too, on most things, that's crazy.
Compete with Hines Ward, yes.
Now, the biggest question of all.
Who do you pick?
Hines Ward versus Deshaun Jackson. Who are you choosing here?
I'm taking Deshaun Jackson, man. You kidding me? Obviously, you're probably choosing Hines Ward, but...
In pain and misery, I'm actually going to have to go with Deshaun Jackson.
I figured...
I know his stats look less, but if you notice the games played, and if he would have played the same amount of games, he would have beat Hines Ward in most categories.
Well, easily.
The only thing he didn't have is a Super Bowl MVP, and he was a 4-time Pro Bowler. I don't know how many Pro Bowls Deshaun Jackson had, but he probably had at least 4, right?
He was a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Oh, he's only 3-time?
Yeah, he's only a 3-time Pro Bowler.
Like, I feel like he would have been at least a 4.
Remember, like I said, he was hurt off and on.
I guess that is true, but
whenever he was healthy, that's when he had his Pro
The
Bowl.
only thing I have going for me in Hines Ward is definitely Super Bowls, in my opinion. Like, everything else, a lot of the stats that Deshaun Jackson had, I would say he probably wins in those categories. So I think I have to go Deshaun Jackson with you. I have to agree with you on that, case. But I still love me Hines Ward, though. Don't get me wrong.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. Now we switch to the defensive side of the ball. The two legends on defense.
Yeah.
And why don't you start us off with the D lineman that you have?
So, we're doing D lineman first?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my D lineman is James Harrison.
Oh, this will be interesting.
So, he is a 5-time Pro Bowler. 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Okay.
He was the one who had that super long 100-yard return touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 42.
I did see that one.
That one was so awesome to watch. He played a total of 192 games. 16 of them were not in Pittsburgh. Because he played one game with the New England Patriots and 15 with the Cincinnati Bengals, which I think is interesting. But the rest of them were with Pittsburgh.
Well, the one game that James Harrison did play on is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Against Philly.
Yeah.
And I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
So he had 793 total tackles. He had 573 of them were solo tackles, right on individually. He had 84.5 sacks in his career. He had 34 forced fumbles. 88 of them were recovered. And he had 8 interceptions on top of that. He didn't have any touchdowns, though. Except that he had the Super Bowl ones, but for some reason they didn't include that.
So, anyways, for Reggie White, and that's who I have.
Reggie White. Oh, no.
Yeah, this is going to be real interesting. He was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He was a 13-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro.
13?
In a row.
Oh, my gosh.
In a row. No joke.
Dang.
When I get to the stats, you'll see why. He had 198 career sacks, so he's I think he's in second or third place in all-time sacks.
198 sacks?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. I'm not done yet either. He has the most consecutive seasons with 10-plus sacks of 9. 9 consecutive seasons of 10-plus sacks. And most consecutive seasons with 15-plus sacks with 5. So he was a monster. And I'm not even done yet. He had over 1,100 tackles. He had 1,111 tackles. He had, the fumbles and interceptions are less than what Harrison did. 14 forced fumbles, 3 picks, and 12 fumble recoveries. But everything else...
Other than the 2 Super Bowls that he had, Reggie White dominates in every category. Oh God. We had Super Bowls. I'm salty. I'm just salty. Okay.
I'm assuming you picked Reggie White.
I'm picking Reggie White. Super Bowls are nice, but dang, those stats, man. Those if he was on the Steelers, we probably would have won more Super Bowls.
I think what got you was the amount of sacks he had in his career.
Yeah, the Reggie White having 198. I'm sorry. He slaughters Harrison in a nutshell.
But now you want to get to the controversial one. We'll probably get heated on. Real good.
So the one that we've been waiting for weeks now to talk about,
and what you guys have been wanting to hear,
possibly, Troy Polamalu versus
Brian Dawkins.
Okay,
both are very good.
Who wants to get started?
Why don't you?
We? Okay. So, Troy Polamalu, he played 158 games. He had 32 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 14 forced fumbles, 12 sacks. He had 771 total tackles, 577 of them were solo. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler and 2-time Super Bowl champion, alongside of Harrison.
Okay, so for Brian Dawkins, he played 183 games. So
he played 183 total games.
183 games played.
Oh.
He played 13 seasons in Philly.
Okay, so he only played 30 more games.
Yeah, he only played 30 more games.
Oh, okay.
He had 1,131 total tackles. He was a 5-time All-Pro. He was the first player on defense to get 30 picks and 30 forced fumbles in NFL history, with 37 picks and 37 forced fumbles. Most by forced fumbles, that was the most by safety in NFL history. He had 26 sacks, he had 16 fumble recoveries, and he was a 9-time Pro Bowler as well. So, it is very close.
So, if you notice how the things are, with games played, remember, like, Dawkins played 180 some games, it said.
183.
And Palomalu played 158. It means that there is a 30-game differential here. Now, how close would it have been if Palomalu played more? Here's the thing. We actually did do some research on that. So, Palomalu would have dominated in interceptions.
He was the ball hawk.
He was a very big ball hawk. Dawkins was pretty much a powerful machine that just, like, whacked you.
Like, if he gets the chance, he will hit you.
He was the hit sticker, while mine was the lurker.
That is fair.
So you have to kind of go from that end. Obviously, Palomalu wins in the regard of 2 Super Bowls. Duh. Yeah. But apparently it's one less Pro Bowl than Dawkins.
Yeah, 8.
8 to 9.
8 to 9.
Total tackles. How many total tackles did...
1,131.
Okay, he wouldn't have passed that either way. Palomalu ended with 771 total tackles. 577 of them were solo. All in all, like, Dawkins had... I guess it all really depends on your way you like to play. Do you like to see, like, fun, like, off-the-ground picks like Palomalu did against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Don't mind me, please.
Or, like, kind of like this, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But do you want to have something like that? Or do you want to have someone that's like, wham?
Or do you want to have someone like Dawkins, you want like a Jim Johnson defense where he comes off the edge and blitzes you?
Yeah. Like, it really depends on your preference on how you play defense. And for me, I love seeing sacks. I do, because I love TJ Watt. Because I love watching, like, his
Dawkins
stuff. Dawkins gives me that, but I also love watching, like, cool interceptions or really good mosses over a receiver.
If you want to watch that, that's Palomalu. But if you
it's really difficult for me to choose who I would want here.
I'm taking Dawkins, obviously, but it's totally up to you.
I just think overall, I think I still got to stick with Troy, man. I love Dawkins. Don't get me wrong; he's a great player. But Troy Palomalu, I don't know. There's something awesome about him that I just love watching. And I just hate that he had to be retired early. I just wanted him. I wish he played more, but because he retired after 45, after we lost to the Green Bay Packers, and he could have played for at least 3 or 4 more seasons. And I was like,
right around where Dawkins played.
Yeah, and I was so upset when he retired. So it's like,
I mean, remember this was 16 seasons of Dawkins playing. So
yeah. So all in all, though, for my picks, I would take Terry Bradshaw over Randall Cunningham. I would definitely take Ben Roethlisberger over McNabb. I would take Bettis over your running back, Westbrook.
You took Deshaun Jackson.
I will, however, take Deshaun Jackson over Hines Ward. I will take Reggie White over James Harrison. Definitely. However, I'm still taking Troy Polamalu over Brian Dawkins.
I think it's going to be a split 2.5 because...
So what are you doing?
So I'm taking Dawkins, obviously, for safety. Reggie White, obviously. Deshaun Jackson, so that's 3.
Yeah.
I will take Bettis over Westbrook. And
how's your quarterback situation here?
I'm sticking with Cunningham because, remember, he was also very mobile, too. He was way more mobile than Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And I'll take Big Ben over McNabb.
Yeah. So we can kind of see agreements on different players.
But you also see disagreements on
some of them. The thing is that's really hard for us right now is the fact that the only difference between some of these players right now and how good they are is Super Bowls. It's 6-1.
And none of these players...
And none of the players none of your legends have any. Because your only Super Bowl win was with Foles and 52, which was only, like I say, it was 6-7 years ago now?
It was during Jackson's career, but he didn't play.
He wasn't with them at the time.
I was with...
Go figures, right? The one time they win a Super Bowl, he's not with them. He probably would have...
He was the closest out of the legends to...
get there.
Probably get there.
And there was like some of these guys that probably made it to a Super Bowl and they just lost. You guys made it to plenty of Super Bowls. You just lost them all. Usually to the Patriots, which
actually no, McNabb and Dawkins. Sorry, because they played at the same time.
Yeah, but yeah, like how many times do you guys lose to the Patriots? Like it wasn't like two times before you finally beat them on the third.
Two,
try?
And then we beat them the third time.
It's like third time's the charm, I guess. But yeah, for the most part, I'm sticking with my Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the most part, I'm sticking with my Philly Legends. But we had agreements where we swapped.
Oh yeah, there's definitely ones where you're like, if you look at the stats and you look at how good they were, it's like you can't deny that you have to choose one over the other. Like if you had to take one, like you have to take the other type of thing. Like Reggie White though, oh my gosh, that guy is insane.
I don't need to go over his stats again because you know how.
No, we're good.
Anyways, that was our Legends.
That was our Legends video today. Next week, we're going to be talking food. It's going to be interesting.
But it's Philly versus Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh style food. So get ready for your Philly cheesesteaks and your French fries on a sandwich, because that's what we're gonna be talking about next week. So this is Elijah,
and this is Luke,
and we are the Eagles of Steel. Bye.